I love RPGs. While I don't review many of them, they are my second favorite genre, my first being horror. The reason why I don't review all too many is simply due to how large many of the games in this genre can be. When I select a game for my channel, I try to keep in mind how long it takes to finish it. Something like Dragon's Dogma isn't a title I would have normally selected, but Mustafar requested I review it, so, here we are. I blame all of my pain on you, by the way.
Certain death. This way! Careful! A goblin!
Dragon's Dogma has one really cool feature, one which sort of comes back to bite it in the ass. The game's pawn system, the ability to summon NPC warriors to fight by your side during your adventure, is unique and does help the game stand out. You always have one pawn all your own, and via the Rift Stones you can recruit pawns from other players around the world. This allows you to basically form a mini fellowship, letting the player craft a party to tackle certain challenges with the right setup. Or if you're like me, you just stick with 2 mages, a ranger, and a barbarian. In addition to fighting alongside you, the pawns also have inventory space all their own, allowing your party to carry around all kinds of stuff, which will seriously come in handy as the healing system in this game is a bit weird. Unfortunately, as you'll quickly notice, these pawns never shut the fuck up. They constantly shout off information, some of it being actually useful, such as quest or monster info, but most of what they say is basically noise. Just shut up, for the love of God, please, shut up. You can sit your main pawn down and instruct it how to act, lessening the amount of the name babble, but it doesn't help much since you can't do the same with the other 2.
I'll do your wounds.
Also, the pawn AI in combat is rather terrible. They will legit tell you to not attack blindly, to wait for the right moment, then strike your foe, only to do the exact opposite. I've seen my pawns get taken out by a single dude and hardly put up a fight. The pawn's AI seriously needed some reworking before release.
I cannot take much more.
What about the rest of combat? Dogma is basically a hack and slash. Combat is fast and fluid, usually, sometimes some minor glitches and weird hit detection can get in the way, and each vocation, the classes, have their own special moves and combos. Perhaps the coolest thing this game does is how you can handle fighting the bigger creatures. Climbing all over them to get to weak points or try and force them down to the ground, letting your pawns deal some big damage, makes taking on these things a blast. Sometimes the connection recognition is a bit spotty, and when the creature is moving all around, it can be difficult to tell what's going on, as the camera doesn't always feel like staying centered on your character, an issue which does come up throughout the entire game. Depending on what class you play as, I started as the Strider, you have access to different types of skills that can be used in battle. Some of these are more useful for taking on single opponents, while others aid in crowd control, and adds a degree of customization for your party as you decide which skills to give to your character and your main pawn. Now, you would think these skills are unlockable as you level up, this is an RPG after all, but no. Instead, you have to learn these skills from a shop, not some sort of master trainer, because that would make too much sense, via a sales transaction.
The master works all, you can't go wrong.
What? The amount of gold you accumulate is rather generous, and it's not too hard to find the stuff, but learning how to twirl through the air with your blades from a random shopkeeper? That's kinda dumb if you think about it. The combat and the party customization, while being fun, are really the only good things going for Dragon's Dogma. The 2 average things are the graphics. Seriously, even going by 2012 standards, this is washed out looking and sort of basic, and the sound design, including the voice acting, music, and all the little sound effects.
Stay vigilant. There's yet a ways to go.
Literally everything else in this game is either subpar or downright terrible. The main story follows our return of a dragon. This dragon takes your heart and you somehow survive, becoming the Arisen, a mystic warrior with the ability to command the pawns, a type of being who exists only to serve the Arisen. Your quest revolves around regaining your heart and defeating this dragon while finding out why it has appeared and what this means for the world. Now, you think this would be rather interesting, but the story doesn't ever really do anything cool with this premise.
You should be abed. I wish you would not strain yourself so. I am worried for you, cuz.
The side quests, while plentiful, suffer from the same lack of interesting story. Nothing ever holds your interest, and after doing several of the side quests, I simply sped through the main story just to get it over with. Perhaps the most hurtful aspect the game hits you with is a complete lack of basic fast travel.
Stray from the roads, and we'll soon find...
Before setting off, we ought to equip ourselves to suit our objectives.
Should the enemy prove too powerful,
Now there are times in, say, Skyrim, for example, in which I will willingly walk the long distances between quest locations simply to enjoy the world. Maybe I'll even come across some new cool areas or new quests. But then there are also times when I just want to keep the story going at a good pace, and this is where the ability to fast travel saves the game from becoming a lengthy, drawn-out chore. That's what Dragon's Dogma feels like. 99% of the time, you have to walk everywhere. Imagine having important quest locations being on the complete opposite side of the map and you're forced to walk the entire way. Oh, and let's not forget the enemy encounters. Enemies who spawn in the exact same area every single time. You'll get tired of fighting the same fucking foes over and over again, only to come up against one of the random huge difficulty spikes in enemy quality, getting your whole party killed, forcing you to start the long ass trek once again. This single factor absolutely crushes the game's potential to achieve anything higher than a slightly above average score. Yes, the combat can be lots of fun when you're in a groove and the initial mystery in the story hooks you in. The pawn system is unique and all the character classes and their advanced versions add some extra flavor. But subpar graphics and sound design, the story never going anywhere interesting, self-fulfilling prophecies are boring, the near brain-dead pawn AI at times, and the crucial lack of a serious fast travel system brings everything good here down as the experience quickly turns into a tedious slog. Dragon's Dogma earns a 6 out of 10. Hello everyone, thanks so much for checking out the video, and to the subscriber who suggested that I review this, I hope you're happy. While this wasn't the worst game I've tackled so far, it definitely wasn't all too enjoyable to actually get through. If you haven't yet already, be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the little notification bell so you'll always be notified when I actually upload stuff, because YouTube is dumb, and I've explained it before, they're dumb. Also, if you're feeling generous, why not go ahead and become a patron on my Patreon, link in the description below. I'm literally just 3 subscribers away from reaching 50, which I know doesn't seem like much of a milestone, but since even my favorite YouTubers like Angry Joe, or the Angry Video Game Nerd, or literally all the big ones started off from 0 and worked their way up, if I can reach 50 here pretty soon, that'll feel pretty good. And if I do, well, I've already got something planned for the 50 subscriber milestone. Let's just say that I've only tackled one of the Soulsborne games. It's time to keep punishing myself some more.